take a look at the page. So the other thing, hopefully, I think that most people, a couple of people did do the survey. I sent out a survey last night to ask you what you like the most, or which platform you like the most. I should have said, what do you just like the most? Maybe you just like working from home. But I also wanted to know where you don't have parking, right? Parking downtown can be a challenge. But I also wanted to know if you think of anything over the weekend that would make coming together more fun, interesting, easier, whatever. You can send me a text message. Because Mercer's closed till May, I want to make sure that everybody can keep their momentum, because they said they're closed so far through the spring semester, which the first week of May, I think, is the end of the spring semester. So this is going to be, we've made it 2 weeks. Happy Friday. This is the end of 2 weeks, but it seems like we're going to have another 5-ish weeks of working like this. So I do want to know, what problems you might have had, or how we can just stay motivated. And that's why I'm thinking about just doing something other than just the math, like watching a film and having a discussion and just doing some of the other things that we really did in class in this kind of virtual class. So if you haven't done the survey yet, please do it. I also, some things might seem a little repetitive, because some people, I do have your email and you are on Remind. More people are on Remind than I have emails. So when I sent the survey out on Remind, I'm also asking for your email, just to make sure that I have both things. So if you have both, you only have to do the survey once. I should say, if you've got both, if you got it through email and you got it through text, you only have to submit one survey. So thank you so much for doing it. And now I'm going to show you, this is on CUDA software. This is area of triangles and quadrilaterals. So we haven't finished all quadrilaterals yet. We've only done square and rectangle. So that's all we're going to look at right now, but we're going to come back to this page after we have done the parallelogram and some of the other things that are on this sheet. But I just wanted to show you, so one like this, the only reason that this one is a little bit more challenging is because they include some decimals. So you have a 5.1 meters times 6. But what we were saying when we were in class is that you're going to look at the answers. You're going to have multiple choice. So an easy way to look at this one is to estimate first, right? And just say 5 times 6 is 30. And you're looking for one that's a little bit higher than 30, right? Does that make sense? So even if you're looking at the answers as you're doing the problem, because you're doing multiple choice. If some answers are far away from 30, it's automatically not the answer, right? You're looking for something that's very, very close to 30 because of just estimating that 5.1 would drop down to 5. And the formula for a rectangle is length times width. Any questions about this one? Now, if you have the calculator available, then you're going to put in the 0.1, or you're going to do the multiplication on your scrap paper. But part of looking at the two lengths is to also be predicting again when you're doing the math. So you have a question, Kevin?
Yeah, ma'am. When I did the multiplication for the 6 times 5.1, I got 30.6. Do I need to take the 6 and add it to the 30 to make it 31? Or do you need to drop the 6 to make it 30?
So this doesn't have any directions besides find the area. So the answer still has the decimal in it. So if I scroll down here, it is 30.6.
Oh, okay.
So now if you're looking at the directions though, it might tell you to round to the nearest whole, number. Then if you have a 0.6, you're rounding up to 31, right?
Yeah.
So if you make it halfway through to the next number, you round up. So anything that's from 0.56789 gets rounded up. If it is like this one, 0.2, 0.1234 gets rounded down. So you just have to make sure you're reading the directions. If it says to round up, to round down, or if it doesn't say anything like these, just find the area, then you're gonna leave it exactly how you have it on the calculator. So now the reason why I'm showing you this page is because of the way that the triangles are, like we were talking about yesterday. So like this example right here, the formula, who remembers the formula for area of a triangle?
Isn't it half base times height?
Yep. So it's similar to length times width, or you know, multiplying 2, but like we said, part of the rectangle or square is cut away. So the formula is 1/2 of multiplying 2 sides. So now the reason why I'm showing you this page is because this is an example of them rotating the triangle. So if you can see number 2, the base is here, right? This is the height of the triangle where they have the little box that's showing you made the right angle. So you want to say 1/2 the base times the height, or like we said yesterday, you could multiply these two together and then take half. If you want to look at the formula like, let me multiply and divide by 2, or let me divide, take half of the base first and then multiply by the height. So did you get this answer, 28.8?
Go ahead.
Wait. Time.
Oh.
Oh, wait. Okay, now I did. I keep forgetting to put the 0.5. Okay.
So now you can say 9 times 6.4 and then divide it by 2. That's going to give you 28.8.
Yeah.
Or you can say, you know, what is half of 9 is 4.5 times 6.4, and then you'll get 28.8.
I did it like this.
Right, and you can use 0.5 too, right?
Yeah.
So this is you just doing what you want to do. You might say already, like, oh, I already know half of 9 is 4.5, so that's the number that I'm going to type in, times 6.4. Or you might do it, that's how I did it first. Actually, Gladys, I did it divided by 2. So I said 9 times 6.4 divided by 2. So as long as you understand the formula and what you're doing, the reason why I'm saying that is because depending on the numbers, like you might not need to use the calculator at all. Let's see, what's a good example? This one right here, number 8. What is the base of the triangle?
Done 8.
This one right here.
Hold up. The base.
Base or the face?
The base
The
is 2.
base.
Oh, okay.
It's 2.
Right. So you don't need to think of that, right? Half of 2 is 1. So 1 times the 3.8, that's why the answer right here is 3.8. So sometimes, depending on the numbers, you might just want to say, I want to take half right off the bat. I want to take half of 2, and I'm just multiplying by 1 in my head. Other times, it might make more sense to say, I'm going to multiply both of them together and then take half at the end, you know? So you're just saying to yourself, how can you do this in the easiest way possible? If you really know the formula, you're taking a look at what should I really be working on, right? Like this one, that's a square, is just 7 times 7. So this is where we were saying that of course, the foundation is really important. Like, do you know the multiplication table? You know, how fluid are you with seeing 1/2 is in the formula, but then like Gladys, you might just convert it to 0.5 because maybe that's easier. you know, than working with a fraction, working with the decimal. Or if you're just saying you want to do the division, you might want to say, I just want to divide by 2. And I'm not going to think of 0.5 and multiplying, you know, I'm going to think of just, I have a total and then I'm using the division button on the calculator. So we're going to do a couple of these, but we're going to probably do some more after we make it through the parallelogram, the other quadrilaterals. So I'm going to show you where those are, but we're not going to do that quiz today. We're going to catch up with math, and then if you're in the mood, you can watch the film when I send that one to you. So we have done so far triangles, the intro, rectangle, square, the intro. So what we skipped over is all quadrilaterals, which is this rhombus and parallelogram. So quadrilateral is what I'm going to click on, but we're coming back around to it. And like we said before, quad just means 4. So a quadrilateral has 4 sides. And there's different formulas for quadrilaterals. And I know that you may have seen some of these if you're working on Aztec. But what we have is the same as a square. The internal angles are 360 degrees. But there are different types of quadrilaterals. So after we finish the triangle, which we're going to talk about on Monday, we're going to talk about the Pythagorean theorem. Then we're going to come back around, talk about these quadrilaterals, and then kind of find a summary where we can do maybe like one of these worksheets together. So I know I saw Gladys doing trapezoid on Aztec, but there's just different rules again if you're drawing this out on the note cards. So far we've done rectangle and square, but there are different I guess criteria for each one of the quadrilaterals. And I think that the most popular ones are the ones that were on the CUDA software we were just looking at, like a parallelogram and then a trapezoid. So we call this trapezoid in the US, but like we said, this website is international, so they're calling it a trapezium. But if you look at this page, you can see here's a trapezoid, right? Here's a parallelogram. So we haven't done those yet, so we're not going to do the whole page, but I'm thinking that by about Wednesday or Thursday, we will be through a couple of these shapes. So our goal is to do the triangle, the quadrilaterals next week, and then if we have time, we're going to get to the flat just circle, and then that will be us completing the 2-dimensional shapes, where we're going to work on some of the things that are on the task website so that we can actually try them out and, you know, do them in a way like we were doing the task exercise book. So I want to give you a chance to make it through Khan Academy.
Okay.
So let me stop sharing. I want to give you a chance to make it through Khan Academy, which is the only new thing is some word problems about square, rectangle, and triangle, just so that you can do the practice. So again, they're not so difficult, but you want to memorize these 2 formulas that we've done so far, which is like length times width can be used for square and rectangle. Sometimes square just says the side squared because it's only one number, right? So you're gonna, like the one that was just on the CUDA software page where it says 7 times 7, a lot of times you're gonna see that formula as 7 squared. But if you don't remember that one, it's no problem. You don't have to invest in memorizing the one for square because it is gonna just be length times width. So as you're trying to, again, memorize less, you wanna say to yourself, I know the square and the rectangle is length times width. I know the triangle, like we just said, is 1/2 of the length times the width, and that they use the letter B a lot for the base of a triangle, and they use the letter H for height. So we're really still in the translating phase of our formula and equation, making sure that we really understand it. And what I'll do is I will go to probably taskpracticetest.com and look for a couple that are in the geometry section so that we can try those out. So I know some people have gone through a lot of that website, but a lot of people are saving math for last. So hopefully you haven't done those problems. And then I'll send you the CUDA software also. So what you can do if you don't have a printer, I know a lot of places are closed that are not essential. You can just look at the sheet as a PDF and work out some problems on paper. And then we will go over which one did you have a problem with, kind of like how we did in class. Any questions about that?
No, okay.
So if you feel like you're caught up with math, I did add the 2 sections of science in there so that we can get the scientific understanding of what's going to be in the New York Times. So it's about, I would say, 2 hours. By the time you really watch a video, think about it, look at the Khan Academy videos, because they're drawing different parts of the respiratory system and they're talking about the lymphatic system. So we talked about it a little bit, and I sent a video out this morning about how to do the breathing exercise. It's actually really good for you, especially, you know, being in the house. You want to take some deep breaths. And also just with what we're talking about with immune system and being healthy and well, that's definitely a big conversation right now. Breathing through your nose is very important because you automatically have a filter, right? So all your nose and your nose hairs are automatically a filter. But a lot of times people are breathing through their mouth, which is why you're hearing on the news to drink water, to drink warm water, because all of those things are good for your immune system. Just in general, when it's flu season and when it's not, and also in general, when people have allergies, sometimes swallowing the air is what's making people sick. Like taking it in through their mouth where there's not a filter, and it then goes into your digestive system or into your esophagus, lung area, right? So I'm also gonna just send out, the Study Jams doesn't look so good when I send it mobily. I think it's because a lot of times you have to click that button, if you remember in class, that will load the videos. But those are also very good too, as the foundation. So if you remember, Study Jams is the Scholastic website that has the short cartoon videos for kids. In that human body section, just spend some time on there. So I keep threatening again to send you this log. I'm really about to work on it right now.
You have 5 weeks to do it.
Because if you use Study Jams, I think watching those videos like we did in class 1 or 2 times and then doing the quiz, that's a good 10 to 15 minutes. And I think it's very good because it's a cartoon. It's silly, funny, a little bit corny, but those things tend to be memorable. So they have something in there for the immune system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the digestive system, right? So that's gonna go along with what we're reading in the New York Times. So you can tell me how you feel about reading the article and watching the video, because I wanna know not just the actual lesson, but how you feel doing the lesson. So in a sense, we are trying to prepare for the class in advance, which means today, if you can, from 10:30 to 11, watch the video or read the article. On Monday, maybe from like 9:30 to 10, you know, like get prepared for it. And then we'll try to work out a schedule where we're doing math, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then maybe like this social studies, science, reading, writing Thursday, and then watch a movie, a short clip documentary on Fridays or something like that. So we'll try to come up with a steady schedule so that you can be prepared for the class. But the goal is just to incorporate some of the other subjects and not have you be bored, right? Just do something different from working on the same websites all the time. And to also hear each other's voice if you want, or at least represent, right? So even if you send it to me in writing, I will read your response if you're feeling shy at first. But the goal is just for you to be able to engage with each other also. So let me know, when you read it. If you send me a text right away if you want while you're reading it, or email, or you can let me know on video on Monday how you feel about the article, if it was easy to use the New York Times website. There are some questions on there because these are actually lessons. So it'll say question number 1, what did you think about it? What came up for you? Like that type of thing to help guide you through, which again is just part of our critical thinking. So that's going to help you in every subject of the test that you have to take, because critical thinking is really important for the reading section, for the writing section, for the science section. You have to be able to analyze either the charts or the information. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. You don't have a Math is Fun quiz, but you can just take a look at the same 2 formulas in the word problem form on Khan Academy, and I will just mark how much time you do on there. You can also catch up on anything that you haven't done over the weekend, and I'll update the attendance on over the weekend for Monday. So if you missed watching some videos, what it's doing on Khan Academy, it's totaling your time for you. So now you're saying I spent this amount of time, but it's also tracking your time, right?
Okay.
So I see that some people are skipping the videos and just doing the quiz and practice, but it's giving you less time actually worked. Now, and I know that some of the things in the beginning were very, very easy, so you might not want to watch those videos. If you don't watch those videos though, you want to do something else.
Okay.
So now as we move to the more complicated formulas, or like understanding the lymphatic system or the respiratory system, those I think you want to watch those, because they're drawing, they're explaining the anatomy, and it might be more helpful to really listen to it in addition to the study jams. So those 2 things are going together. We're using study jams as the intro, like foundational level that comes with, from children or for children. And then we're using Khan Academy as the high school higher level understanding of the same topic. So any questions?
So,
Any comments for the week?
Miss Yu,
Yes?
I have a question. Do we all have access to the exercises that you put on the screen?
Let me send it to you right now. So I'll text it right now.
Okay.
Um,
Just so I can practice a little more.
yes, I will text you a couple of them. So I'll text you the ones we've
Yeah, because we haven't gone through all of them, I understand.
Yeah, so it's a whole page. Let me show you where it is. So I'm using this CUDA software. There's worksheets in the majority of the categories that we are using for high school. So I'm on this geometry page. And so far, we kind of already did a review of algebra in our last session. So right now we're in the basics of geometry. So we did some line segments, angles, classifying angles, naming the angles. And now we just moved to quadrilaterals. So where we kind of are is a combination of classifying them, doing the angles for them, like the internal angles are 360 degrees, and then these different area and perimeter questions. So we looked at area of a couple. Let's see. And we're kind of like coming over, we did some polygons, which poly just means more than one, quad means 4. So we're kind of in this section right here. So I'll send you more than one to cover the basics and to cover quadrilaterals. But of course, you can work on this whole page if you want. What we're moving to next is the right triangles, where we're going to do the Pythagorean theorem. And then we're going to move to circles. Then we're going to move to 3-dimensional. So we'll be getting a couple of different sheets from this page. I will send you some of the ones that we've already done, some of the topics that we've already done, and you can use that as a way to see how much you remember, you know, from the beginning up till now. And then starting Monday, we'll do Pythagorean theorem and work through a couple of other quadrilaterals. So I think we can make it through the end of the week. It's a lot in geometry because you're doing a lot of different shapes, but we're going to try to find a way to tie it in together. If I can find a good summary type of worksheet, you know, that will test us on multiple things in area and perimeter. So any other questions?
No question.
All right, then. Have a great weekend.
Have a great
You
weekend.
too. Have a good one.
All
Stay
right.
safe.
You.
Bye-bye.
God bless you guys.